Trump signs the deal yesterday. It's a memorandum of understanding. It's not a treaty, but it's still a big deal. And Jesse Waters here to report on it.
The president signed another treaty at dinner. More on that in a sec. But the Europeans are already telling 47, merci.
You've seen European leaders interact very warmly with you at this summit. Do you think that they're coming around to your worldview?
Well, I think they think I was right. I'm sort of always right.
Trump world order. See, the MOU that he signed with Iran, it's a memorandum of understanding, which means we've agreed with Iran to enter into negotiations towards these principles, these agreements. It's not a treaty, but and it's not binding yet. However, everything in there is outlined very specifically that the Trump administration will allow Iran to be rebuilt if they come along with their what we're asking of them, which is taking down the nuclear, getting the uranium to us, committing to never pursue nuclear weapons. And there's a few other things in there as well. No more funding of terror, stuff like that. And then they have benefits to move towards. And a lot of people are mad about this. A lot of people are big mad about this, especially the neocons, but the liberals are in there too. In fact, this morning we got, well, not this morning, but a couple, over the last couple days, President Trump lost this war. That's the New York Times editorial board. Wall Street Journal opinion, Trump stages an Iran retreat. Now, this is hilarious to me, and especially Tom Luongo commented, yeah, both sides of the intelligence community are in agreement. But it's hilarious to me because a retreat is the absolute last thing this would be. How do you retreat when you just demolish them? It's not a retreat. They're not attacking us. We didn't invade them. We knocked out all their military capabilities. We choked out their economy. And then Trump was like, hey, it's time. It's time to move on. Now, again, always remember there's way more going on behind the scenes than we know. Way more. And you could look at the timing of everything and how perfect it was all set up. It kind of gives you a tell, right? It gives you a tell that at least patriots are in control, as constantly thrown out to us by the White House. And the other tell to me is that all the right people hate it. Not only as the Wall Street Journal, a bunch of morons, New York Times, obviously they're the worst. But we got people like Mike Pence coming out against it. Mike Pence, the traitor, the Judas in chief. President Trump deserves great credit for making a decision, but I have very real concerns about the MOU now that we see what's in it and what's not in it. The MOU with Iran smacks of the kind of appeasement. Our administration rejected the Obama-Iran nuclear deal, and when Joe Biden attempted to return the politics of appeasement during his administration. I'd urge the president to take a step back, continue the blockade, pursue a negotiated settlement that commits Iran to dismantling their nuclear program, dismantling missiles, and support for terrorist proxies and open the strait. Didn't he just do that? The only thing not here is the continuing of the blockade. So that's pretty crazy. I think he says, failing that, we should let our armed forces finish the job on our terms. Well, that's exactly what Trump said he'd do. He'd go back and bomb again. So I don't see the problem here, Mike. I really don't. But as I talked about at other times, there's political realities here. And the political reality is the longer you stay there and just wait, well, the American people aren't fans of it. The oil prices are still staying elevated. Trump is weighing everything. And what he actually pulled off is pretty incredible. When you factor in, because everybody comparing it to Obama are kind of missing the whole point that we actually destroyed their military. It's believed that up to 85% of all their missile launching capability has been destroyed. Most of their missiles that it's said they still have 75% of their stockpile. Well, they have no way to launch those missiles, and most of their missiles are currently buried underground. Trump didn't just get a deal with them to say, yeah, we promise not to build a nuke just like Obama did. No, he actually blew up their nuclear facilities. And not only did he do it once, he went back after they attacked again and blew up more of their defense systems. He choked out their economy. He forced the world to structure where its oil goes. He's got the Gulf states breaking up OPEC and now sending out much of the oil through pipelines so that only 40% of the oil coming out of that area still needs to go through the Strait of Hormuz. He made America the energy capital of the world during this and got deals with Japan and China to now buy oil from us. Venezuela is pumping oil like crazy now. Highest levels in a decade. Trump accomplished all of this. Obama accomplished none of it. So comparing this MOU to the JCPOA is completely a psyop for retards. I'll say it. You have to be an absolute idiot to think this is anything similar to the Obama deal. And again, the right people are mad. Here's Bill Cassidy, the big loser. The big establishment Republican rhino loser who's came in third in his recent primary as soon as he challenged Trump. He's got big words to say, though. He still thinks we're listening. Well, we are for the purposes of this show, so we can laugh at him. Reagan is rolling over in his grave. I'm sure he is. Iran's nuclear ambitions were not curbed. They have learned that threatening the Strait of Hormuz works and will undoubtedly leverage it in the future. These are all the talking points. Iran's nuclear ambitions were not curbed. Yeah, they're buried at the bottom of a mountain. There is no nuclear capabilities right now because their ambitions, okay, fine, they weren't curbed. They were obliterated. Thank you. I'll fix that for you, Bill. They learned that threatening the strait works. Oh, does it? How about 2 months they threatened the strait and we controlled it? Now Iran gets to build brand new infrastructure under this deal, only if they obey. And this is the big psyop they keep running. Before the war, the strait was open. Iran was being crushed by sanctions. Not true. They were doing just fine. And 13 service members were still alive. 13 Americans are dead. Families paid billions at the pump. Sanctions lifted and the bombing has stopped. 13 are dead, and that is tragic. I agree with you. But we just took out the number 3 big bad in the world, along with what we all grew up with, China, Russia, and Iran. Trump just showed that they can be dealt with. You can bomb the snot out of them. They cannot come back. And he dealt with it all in just over 3 months, and it wasn't a forever war. And so, yeah, it's terrible 13 Americans are dead. It's also the best ratio and payment of lives versus what we accomplished that we've ever seen in American history. Even the Gulf War we lost, which we won triumphantly in 1991, we still lost 130 or so service members during that. And that was the last time America really won anything militarily before Trump. So yes, it's terrible. It's also 90% less than our last military triumph, which was over 30 years ago. Mark Levin and Israel are big mad as well. Now this is interesting. Why is Israel so mad? I don't think Israel, I don't think it's the right people that are mad in Israel. Let me put it that way. As Alex Brusowitz posts here, hello, Mark Levin Show. An Israeli source confirmed to Times of Israel, Israeli government will using you and other right-wing media figures to try to influence the president's deal. Now, that's not okay, is it? Now, you guys know me. I'm not anti-Israel, but I'm certainly not a Zionist. And this is one of those times when you got to call out Israel. Why would Netanyahu allow this? Netanyahu plans to use pro-Israel. This is from the Times of Israel, by the way, guys. This is not from Tucker Carlson. This is not from some left-wing source. This is not from the Young Turks. This is from the Times of Israel. Netanyahu plans to use pro-Israel senators and right-wing media personalities to influence the terms of a final agreement, citing Israeli source. Netanyahu believes a deal with Iran will be secure, but Tehran will not fulfill its obligations. He plans to use media figures like Mark Levin to get his message across to Trump. Now, this guy, Brusowitz, he's an advisor to Trump. He's not just a nobody. So he's calling this out. Now, that's interesting, right? Why is Netanyahu so against this? Well, we'll talk about that, but let's keep moving. Vance came out, and now he's making a lot of the rounds for all this, and he says there's a strategic panic, within the Israeli establishment, which I sense where it's assumed that anything considered potentially beneficial to Iran will indeed happen, but that it will happen without the Iranians changing behavior on their part. Therefore, I find this whole wave of hysteria in Israel somewhat strange, because my opinion stems from a lack of trust. The U.S. has rightfully earned the trust of this region. We've done a very good job for that particular country and its government. I believe the facts don't support the claim we made a bad deal, which does not make sense considering the depth and duration of parties' relations. So even Vance calling out Israel on this. What I'll say is what I responded to the other day when people were asking me about this. I don't believe Israel is bad, but I also don't believe they're always doing stuff the best in our interest. And they're going to do what's best in Israel's interest, at least as they see it. The problem is sometimes Israel, and I believe especially in this instance, is still acting like things are the way they used to be before Trump, where war, you just fought and you destabilized the Middle East at every opportunity. And that's what Israel maybe had to do. They didn't have a real partner under Obama, under Biden, maybe even under Bush. They didn't have somebody really interested in helping them. Trump, meanwhile, is frying a much bigger fish than just Iran. He's crushing that globalist order that's over there, the new world order that wanted to be pushed by City of London. He's crushing that, which ultimately will be the absolute best thing for Israel. But Israel is still in the mode of, we get attacked, we bomb. We're under threat, we fight right there, regardless of the consequences. We just do it. That might have worked in the past for them, but Trump is doing something much bigger now. And in order to do that, he needs Israel to chill. Not that they can't defend themselves, but that they need to be much smarter about it. And with Iran, Israel's going to have to come to the point where they understand Trump is also setting free the people of Iran. It's not going to happen immediately because the people are going to have to take back their country. But Trump's not interested in destroying thousands of civilians' lives just in order to wipe out this regime. Trump is going to do it over time. He's going to do it through sanctions, and I know they're lifting some of the sanctions if Iran plays along. But Trump's focused on one thing, and that is destroying the City of London's hold on Iran, which means crushing the IRGC over time, which he's done very successfully so far. He's absolutely obliterated their military capabilities. Israel doesn't have to worry about anything major coming from Iran for a long time. In fact, reports are coming out of the military that the attacks on Iran's military capabilities are actually so catastrophic, the cost is incalculable. That's actual quotes coming out of military people that have been going around. Now I know they're anonymous, so who knows? But I tend to agree with it. It makes sense to me based on what we've seen and based on how little Iran's actually been able to do anything. Think of the hundreds and thousands of missiles they fired at us with barely anything landing. Drones, attacks, one after another, all taken out. Iran has been shown to kind of be a lame duck. And so all this talk about how great and big Iran is, it's just not true. And I think that's what Trump's trying to communicate to Israel. We're going to watch them, so chill. And do not screw up this deal. That's what I believe the Trump administration and Vance are communicating. Now, Trump feeling himself, he's throwing out stuff like this yesterday in his press conference amidst the signing of the deal. And apparently a lot more is going on in the Middle East than just Iran. Here's what Trump had to say about Afghanistan.
Afghanistan is kissing our ass, you know that?
So you're threatening to bomb Iran if they don't comply, but there's nothing enforceable in the deal itself. Is that correct?
Doesn't have to be. I let him know. I said, look, if you don't adhere to the agreement, I don't want to do that, but we're going to bomb the hell out of you. And I don't think that they're going to veer from the agreement. What else am I going to do? Am I going to say I'm going to take you to court? Let me take you to court. Let me sue you. No, we're going to bomb the hell out of them if they violate the agreement. I don't want them to. I want them to honor the agreement. Again, the straits close up. Bad things can happen. You know, in war, Terrible things happen. Like you mentioned the question before about the school gets hit. Other things get hit. Bad things happen in war. War is a nasty place. I see it. I see it. I see it better than maybe anybody has ever seen it. Afghanistan is...
Do you hear what Trump had to say there? First of all, we might get our stuff back from Afghanistan that Biden left over there. That's pretty crazy. So there's a this attack on Iran really woke up a lot of people. But the next thing is Trump just made a wonderful point for all the people complaining about the MOU, being like, how are we going to enforce this? Trump broke it down so simply and so brilliantly. He's like, what are we going to do? Sue them? There is no way to enforce this other than bombing them. That's it. And they know I'll do it. I've done it twice, actually 3 times if you go back to last year. So in the last 12 months, I've bombed them like crazy 3 times. That's how you enforce it. Do you think I need to write that? Are you guys stupid? That's how you enforce it. And Trump, as always, makes perfect sense. So for everybody so freaking out over this, Trump just gave you the breakdown. That's how you do it. And they know it. I don't have to write it down. Well, Trump adds to this because people are freaking out over what's the word I'm looking for? The idea that Iran can actually gain as they play along. Well, there's criticism of this, to which Trump said this.
So we'll be working on a parallel effort with the Gulf nations to address non-nuclear issues such as the conventional ballistic missiles, which we'll be talking about, and support. I mean, they have to have some because other people have some. You got to have some. Somebody said you shouldn't give them one. I mean, I have guys. I like some of these guys, but I don't think they're smart. Sir, you shouldn't let them have any missile. I said, well, what am I going to do? Am I going to let Saudi Arabia have missiles, but they can't have them? Yes, sir. Doesn't work that way, you know. It doesn't work that way. And missiles aren't the problem. Missiles they hurt a little location, but they don't blow up the planet. So the Gulf nations will address the non-nuclear issues.
How brilliant and common sense is that? See, people, we're at the point where like the neocons especially, but also the people thinking like that, which is a lot of the Israeli types, the Zionist types, they are thinking we need to just destroy Iran. And Trump doesn't think like that. Trump sees Iran as a country. He sees them as a people, whether he likes their government or not. And he's like, well, every country has the right to defend itself. He's like, I'm not going to wipe out their entire military. Hey guys, you know, we tried that once, by the way. World War I, Treaty of Versailles. We completely took away Germany, all their rights to defend themselves, made them pay for everything. And how did that work out? That worked out great, right? Oh yeah, no, the German people got so desperate that they elected Hitler. So yeah, it doesn't work out when you completely emasculate a country, especially a country of 90 million people. You can't emasculate them. You can't like absolutely just make them not even able to function. You treat them like another country. You say, you've been bad. We're not doing this anymore. We're not going to allow you to have the thing that could cause massive damage. But yeah, you know, it makes sense that you should be able to do something if you can, if you get attacked. That makes perfect sense. And like you said, we allowed Saudi Arabia to have it. Like, you should be able to have. Trump sees people as like in countries as, even though he just defeated them and we could defeat them much more, he's like, I'm still going to allow them dignity. I'm still going to allow them to operate as a country. And this is also clue, because that's not the City of London way. The City of London way is wipe out everything, go in, take it over, and then create a proxy state. Trump's not doing that. Trump just said, oh yeah, you guys can be sovereign. We just can't allow you to have the big bads, which makes a lot of sense. Now, Trump talking about Bibi and Israel.
And in some cases, women, mostly men, walking around without legs, without arms, with a face that's been blown to smithereens. It's Soleimani, 95%, 96.2 they say or something, 95%. That was Soleimani did it. happened to come from Iran, and I blew him up. You remember that? I blew him up in the Valley of Death. He got off his plane, and we followed him. And in all fairness, because they've been wonderful to me, Israel, but they didn't want to do that attack. They were all set the night before the attack. They informed me they didn't want to do it, so I had to make a decision. I made the decision to do it. But it was a joint venture, as we say in the real estate business. That was a joint venture between Israel and us. We studied it for a month. We knew what plane he was going to be on almost a month before. He only traveled on commercial airliners, big ones with lots of people, because he knew we wouldn't shoot him down. He's very smart. But we knew he was going to be on that plane. We followed him, and then Israel informed me that they won't do it. And
This is Trump talking about when he took out Soleimani in his first term.
I had to make a decision. I had some very good generals, and not the ones you see on television, very good. And I want to thank also Pete Hegseth and General Raisin Kane, who's phenomenal. Okay, these guys are phenomenal. They can't be better. But I had some good generals, and I said to him, well, if Israel's not going to do it, we're all prepared. Do we do it? Do you like doing it or not? He said, sir, if you want to do it, we can do it. How well? We'll do it just as well or better. We'll do it ourselves. We don't need anybody. So we took out Soleimani. One of the biggest events to happen in the Middle East, maybe.
And then interesting. So going back to the first term, Trump's been dealing with Iran, taking out Soleimani, which is a big deal. And for all the Israeli criticism of this deal and that we didn't go far enough, Trump just kind of outed them for being like, well, you guys ditched me when I was taking out Soleimani. That's very interesting. Yeah, I think what Trump's trying to do right here. See, we're not pulling out of Israel. We're not going to like pull our help with them, and we're not going to stop being allies with them. But what Trump is doing is he's making it clear a couple things. A, he's obviously not controlled by Israel. That's so obvious. It's such a stupid argument that you're like, only morons still believe that. Okay. The evidence is so overwhelming. People who don't adhere to logic at all, they just want to have a talking point that sounds fun. But so that's part of it. The other part of it is he's revealing to us that Israel isn't, not everybody in Israel is focused on what they say they're focused on all the time. Israel's going in and out. And I think what Trump's showing us is that there are still City of London ties in Israel that he's trying to break, which if you've been watching this show, I've believed that for a long time, because it wouldn't make sense that Israel wants us to obliterate Iran, but pull out of this Soleimani thing. Israel has not always been there for us. Sometimes Israel does stuff that, like attacking Lebanon the other day, that might hurt our deal on the day of the deal. So Trump is putting Israel in its right frame while also not backing away from being allies with them. And that's a very interesting, tightrope he's walking, but he's definitely walking it. Now, they threw out JD today to give us some of the differences between Obama's deal and this Iran deal.
And the difference between the two agreements. So, first of all, the two big differences are not even in the substance of the deal itself, but something I said earlier are, number one, the Gulf Coast Coalition loves this deal because they think that it makes Iran weaker. They hated the Obama deal because they thought that it made Iran stronger. They know more about this, and they have more to lose than anybody, including the United States of America, so I trust their judgment. The second thing is where the deal came from. You have to remember, in 2015, Iran had built a sophisticated nuclear weapons program with a nuclear weapons stockpile. So the perspective that we came at as the United States was, you already have a really nice nuclear program. We're going to bribe you with American money in order to stop it. Our perspective and where we're coming at it is, we already destroyed your nuclear program. And so if you promise and show verifiable pathways to not rebuild it, then we're willing to give you some sanctions relief and things like that. So it's a fundamentally different perspective. Now, there are all these substantive differences as well. The Obama nuclear deal allowed enrichment. Ours will not. The Obama deal allowed the accumulation of stockpiled weapons-grade material. Ours is actually leading to the destruction of that stockpile of enriched material. So there are many differences. The Obama deal gave them over $1 billion of American money. This deal gives them $0 of American money. So a lot of substantive differences, but I think the most important differences are where we're coming at it from a position of strength and the fact that our Gulf Coast partners love this deal.
Exactly. Well said, sir. Well said. Now, Trump, as only he can do, while the G7, with all this Iran talk, gave us the exact perfect way to filter what the media is telling us by calling him out. And this is just me having fun with Trump because he's the best.
Have now just a 2-point lead since February. Do you think that they're losing momentum?
Well, I see the Republicans in generics. You know, generics are very important. I don't know how accurate, because I see a lot of bad polls. The polls are very dishonest, just like a lot of reporters, like these people over here, are very dishonest. CNN, ABC, it's a whole group of them over there. They're really dishonest people. But, you know, and really networks are very dishonest. And they have to straighten themselves out, or they're not going to be very successful, because people don't believe them anymore. But no, the generics are very interesting because the Republicans are coming up strong even before this. You know why? They're seeing all these lunatics, like the guy in Maine with the swastika. You know, for 10 years they've been calling me a Nazi. And now they have a Nazi running. He's got a tattoo on him. I've been denying it for 10 years. They know it's not so, but they've been calling. I don't think they could call it to me anymore. You know, one more.
Rubio, try not to
One more. Go ahead, Peter. Let me finish with Peter, because he's been better to me than he's been to Biden.
Thank you, President Trump. I have a question about this weekend. Why not stick around for the signing ceremony with this Iran peace deal?
I might.
You might.
Yeah, I might. But I'd rather, this is a memorandum of understanding. It's very important, but it might not be the kind of a document that I should be signing.
There's some element to this where you send the vice president.
Isn't that interesting? He said, like, it might not be something, but I love that when he calls out ABC and CNN. Fake news, fake news. They're running an actual Nazi now. Just great stuff. Just great stuff. And again, you know, yesterday I showed you the he's the boss part. Well, the White House today put together a nonstop loop of this for an hour. Over 1 hour of I'm the boss. So good.
I'm the boss. 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 I'm the boss.
You think they're signaling something to us? Went to G7 and are just pushing this. Now, those who've been around in the movement for a while will recognize this. Here's Department of War, the boss, our commander-in-chief. Oh, but look at the picture they chose. Isn't that interesting? That's a famous old picture. If you've been around, you know. If you know, you know. This is all symbol, guys. They're showing us, like, we're taking over. Trump is the guy now. This is happening at the G7. Think about that. The G7 is supposed to be all the biggest leaders in the world, of the biggest, most important countries in the world coming together. And Trump's just throwing this out there right after signing the Obama deal, right after signing the Iran deal. Wild. Right after his birthday, where we announced to the world with the UFC fight, America's back. The People's House is a place of patriotism and Americana. We're all the way in. And then he goes to the G7 and tells them I'm the boss, and now they're all trolling. You guys can think of that what you want. I know some out there will be like, oh, he's just being a buffoon. He's just, this doesn't mean anything. Oh, really? Then why do we keep winning? Why are they continually getting weaker? But, live in your bubble and believe what you want. Trump posted this out today. Oil is flowing. Iran can never have a nuclear weapon. The world will be safe. Stock market's roaring. Jobs are at records. Prices are dropping. Our country is strong, safe, and respected like never before. You're welcome. I love it. I love it so much. And he's right. Right now, going back to May, it's the longest consecutive gas price decline since November of 23. That's when the Biden administration started unloading our strategic reserves just to get prices down for the election. Yeah. How they manipulated our national security so that they could try to win the election. That's what they did. That's the last time gas prices plummeted. And now, because, once Kamala got in, they would have stopped it and prices would have gone soaring, because that would have been their agenda. Get us off of gas vehicles, all electric, all the climate scam nonsense, less freedom, more expensive. But the Trump policies bring him down naturally. And I'm telling you, we're going to beat this recent record, because gas prices aren't going back up anytime soon. Not with everything flowing now. In fact, report came out today that within the next few months, they expect such an overflow of oil that they're actually worried about prices going too low. Yeah, that's a good problem for the consumers to have. Trump, to his critics, we're not even pulling out of
How long will
Middle
you
East
leave
yet.
the U.S. military in the Gulf?
It's a good question. We haven't thought of it. We're really probably a while. It's a good place to stay. The question was, how long will you leave the military in the Gulf? I would say a little while. See how it all goes. I think it's going to go well, but we'll see.
We'll see. So Trump's no dummy. Everybody's like, he retreated. Well, retreat means leaving, right? No, I don't think so. Hegseth, while this is going on, he gave us a little insight into what's really going on. Now, I was kind of surprised he said this. Listen.
For all of our clarity, too many allied capitals seem to still miss something in translation. Too many allies still don't recognize the historic need that President Trump has made clear to them and to NATO itself to reforge a relevant, powerful military alliance. As President Trump put it, and rightfully so, he gave our allies a test to support America when we asked for their help. And too many failed it.
Did you hear that?
Asked for their help. And too many failed.
Right.
He gave our allies a test.
He gave our allies a test. Who's he talking about? Europe. UK, France, Germany, Spain. Go down the list. Gave them a test. They failed it. All those, EU, City of London, NATO. First war since World War II, since the new alliance, that they didn't jump in war with us as soon as we asked for their help. It's a big tell, isn't it? And Hegseth just laid out there. It was a test. Are you guys going to double down on your City of London nonsense? Do I have to really get tougher with you guys? They failed. It was very fascinating he said that. Almost as if it's all planned. Meanwhile, Trump is celebrating China and Russia.
I thank China, President Xi. I was with him, and he stayed neutral, totally neutral, and I appreciate it. And I would want to thank Vladimir Putin. He was very neutral. They could have made it much more difficult for us. And I want to say it. Somebody would say, "Oh, that's terrible. He's thinking President Xi of China." Well, let me tell you, I had a long talk with him. They have shoulder weapons to knock down airplanes. That it's not like the real deal, but they're accurate. They're fairly accurate. I said, I would really appreciate you're not giving or selling any of that stuff to Iran. And you know what? For the most part, he didn't. So I just want to thank them because they made it a lot better.
Isn't that interesting? We were always told, I was growing up, and I believe all of us who paid attention to politics were always told, you go into Iran, it's World War III, because Russia and China are joining it. Everybody believed this, at least as far as I know. Very few didn't, at least. I'll put it that way. including Christians with end time stuff. Like, oh, you go to Iran, that's the beginning. That's Armageddon, Gog and Magog. None of it happened. Interesting. That Trump calling them out now. ARC, America, Russia, China. Funny he mentions them by name as like the other sovereign nations that could have stirred things up. Tested our allies. They failed the test. Russia and China passed the test. Interesting. Make of that what you will. But it's pretty clear. It's pretty clear who we're cozying up with these days, at least in this season, where our big enemy is the City of London, Davos globalists. And I think like once you see it, you can't unsee it, right? Trump also had to take a dig at China, which made me laugh. They have they don't really work. It's the Timu missiles, man. The Timu missiles don't stop nothing. But very interesting, right? When you compare what Hegseth said and then listen to what Trump said, that's pretty crazy stuff. Now, of course, now that Trump's at G7 and Iran's over, they have Ukraine ramping things up. Attacked Moscow today. The biggest attack since the start of the war. This is City of London doubling down, saying we have to get this one ramped up. We need a war. We need it. We're in debt. We're in big trouble. If we don't get World War III, we're screwed. That's what they want. They want a big reset. They're trying to pull us in. And I don't think it's going to work. Trump famously turned his back on Zelensky at the G7, as we all watched yesterday. Famously just turned his cold shoulder to him. France came out. Macron said, had a difficult meeting with Trump about Ukraine. Difficult meaning he doesn't want to support Ukraine the way we need him to. And then today, Ukraine strikes with the largest strike on Russia since the beginning of the war. Tells you all you need to know, right? They are desperate and they're going to ramp it up. I think Trump, though, is going to end it. And they're scared that that's going to happen. So what do? You try to escalate so that it can't end. We'll see. We'll see how this plays out, but I'm betting on Trump. And so is Lindsey Graham. So after Lindsey, remember yesterday, Lindsey disagree with it? He's going to be in trouble. Well, he's whipping him back into shape. And this is why Trump endorses Lindsey, because Lindsey's a coward. And he'll always end up supporting Trump, even though his instincts are, he's a neocon. But he always comes back around because he's scared. For whatever reason, what does Trump have on him? But he said, I had a lengthy and productive discussion with peace missions and Steve Witkoff about the state of play regarding Iran. After this discussion, it's my opinion signing the MOU will be beneficial to the U.S. Pretty funny. Comes along with this big statement to support it after getting called out. Just shows you how Trump has a big hold on all this. And then, of course, Newt Gingrich. And I want to go through this because Newt is he's the signal, okay? Newt's the signal of what the establishment Republicans are trying to do to survive. Because Newt, he's smart. Whatever you think about Newt Gingrich, there's no denying he's smart. The way he took back the House after 40 years of Democrat control was absolutely genius during the Clinton term, 1994. Newt is very smart. Newt, he kind of toes the line with Trump. At his core, Newt is a neocon establishment, rhino Republican. But I got to tell you, he sees the future. He sees where the country's going, and he wants to be on the right side of history. And when he writes stuff like this, he's telling the Republicans, get in line. Get in line or you're in trouble. And this is an article Gingrich just put out. The Iranian agreement and the Trump economic boom. You see, it's funny to me because so many other Republicans on the rhino side, the establishment wing, have been criticizing Trump, not getting enough done. We're so scared. The midterms are going to be so bad, the economy. And Newt is like, guys, I have something to tell you. And this is, I'm telling you right now, this is written to the establishment rhino Republicans. Wake up, guys. Trump's about to win a lot. And you guys better come around or you're dead. That's what this is for. He says, this is a huge week for President Trump. His birthday party with the UFC fight on the White House was an amazing worldwide spectacle. First steps towards truce with Iranian dictatorship have helped with the price of gas, sense of stability in the Middle East. Capital investment boom, wave of scientific technological breakthroughs are rapidly expanding and strengthening the American economy. Negotiating with Iran, monitoring its commitment, occasionally having to pressure dictatorship militarily or economically is simple reality. Remember Reagan's advice, trust but verify. And Connie Max, you get what you inspect, not what you expect. There'll be no end to the requirement to police, monitor, and occasionally penalize religious dictatorship. Leaders of the IRGC will try to push for as much influence and flexibility as they can get away with. It's their nature. A lot of people on the right and left have criticized the upcoming agreement, even when they've never seen it. It's hard to understand what they thought the alternative should be. Simple fact is, religious dictatorship was more resilient, ruthless, willing to endure pain than the planners who designed the campaign expected. That's a dig at Trump. It's also clear that none of the critics appreciate the size of the coalition Trump's assembled. Now, here's the warning. Here's the warning to the establishment Republicans. Guys, what Trump has put together is so much bigger than you guys are giving it credit for. We're not going back. We're dead. So get in line or you're dead. You're out. This is the warning right there. Almost none of the critics appreciate the size of the coalition Trump's assembled. That is a big line. Many countries in the coalition want to contain the Iranian religious dictatorship, ensure their own resources are not destroyed by the process. Many have responded to Trump presidency by dramatically increasing their purchase of American goods and investment in the American economy. In other words, Trump has the entire Gulf on our side. The Middle East, Trump has brought them in. Even among the most vocal critics, there are a few people who want to put ground troops. It's a country of 90 million people, blah, blah, blah. And he's giving some stuff on Trump, but let's get to the conclusions here. President Trump, this is big because Newt is a Reagan guy. He's a worship Reagan guy. This is a big statement. President Trump is the most entrepreneurial president in American history. Wow. It's how he thinks every day. His sense of entrepreneurship helps him see deals and possibilities others miss. Helps him relate to other entrepreneurs that can develop the kind of psychological momentum vital to a free market economy. Trump's enthusiasm attracts and arouses entrepreneurial risk-taking in many other people. He has a sense of scale few past presidents could match. He's attracted $17 trillion in capital projects. As he visits countries, he focuses on selling American goods and encouraging investment. Watching Trump on these visits around the world is more like watching a governor bringing economic growth to his state than the traditional aloof, policy-oriented approach of most presidents. At the G7, the world leaders will continue to move in the general direction Trump's advocating. This is him saying, City of London's done. The leaders continue to move in the general direction Trump's advocating. They don't have a choice. They'll be more willing to spend on defense, participate in sanctions against aggressors. Note the British seized a tanker containing Russian oil. They'll be more open to helping in the Middle East. They'll be more aware of the aggressiveness, toughness, which Trump protects American interests. Gigantic IPOs, the SpaceX emergence of other huge investment are more signs of the coming Trump boom. There it is. Stephen Moore and his remarkable Unleash Prosperity hotline know that with SpaceX IPO, nearly 4,500 Americans became millionaires because their work for SpaceX included equity. Moore also had another observation about Social Security. If President Bush's 2005 proposal will allow younger Americans to put some of their FICA payroll tax into index stock funds, value of those investments would be 700% higher today. Imagine what the increase will be like as Trump boom grows opportunity, prosperity, and security. Liberal media will try to slant everything against Trump and Republicans as much as they can. In the end, reality will win out. People will realize how much of the current gloom and doom predictions are simply left-wing fake news. Not just left-wing fake news. Neocon fake news, City of London fake news. But, it's Newt. He's got to frame it this way. But Newt knows. He knows. And this whole article is a warning. The economic boom is coming. The Iran deal is smart. Guys, again, I'm telling you, Newt is brilliant. He's not always on our side. He has made some poor decisions, and he's a Republican establishment guy at heart, but he's too smart to go down with the ship. And this is the warning. This is the call. Wake up. it's time to get in, because this American age, the Trump era, it's going to go down as one of the greatest presidencies we've seen. And you either get along or get out. That's where we're headed. And again, Newt, he's the signal. When Newt's saying this, you better believe he knows what he's talking about. So good things ahead, guys. Good things ahead. And this Iran deal is going to go down historic. And the boom, which we've been predicting would start late Q2 into Q3, it's starting to come. And the smart people are seeing it. Get ready for things to really improve over the next few months for the last few years of Trump's term heading into 2028, where I believe we're going to win a massive victory, bigger than 24. Just wait.